It's Luke and Naomi.
She's seen not all of the Marvel, but she's seen a ton of Marvel movies. Now we get into, as one comment on our Facebook page said, some more of a serious kind of darker tone graphic novel movie.
It was definitely different.
Watchmen review coming up. Welcome into episode 114. I'm Luke Austin. That's Naomi Lynn.
Hello.
I've been wanting her to watch Watchmen for a long time, partly because I want to watch the HBO series. Only one season, so don't.
Okay.
I know, the look already was like, oh my God, more.
You make me watch so many series and things, and they all tie back to something else, and it's just a lot. Sometimes I just want to zone out on the TV.
Yeah, sometimes, and that's usually what we do every other day of the week until we watch our movie. So
that's true.
There you go. So we'll find out exactly what Naomi thought about Watchmen. Much different take on superheroes than I think you've seen at all.
Yeah.
Up to this point. So that's coming up in just a little bit.
Listen, the closest I've gotten to Watchmen and that kind of darker tone is Batman.
Okay, so yeah. That's perfect. We'll find out exactly what Naomi thinks of that direction of taking the superheroes in just a little bit. That's coming up in just a second. Again, I'm Luke Goss, and that's Naomi Lynn. She's not seen a lot of movies.
Any of them?
Well, we can't say that anymore, but, and I've seen a lot, so we're working on that for Naomi. If you've seen Watchmen, relive your first watch through Naomi's eyes. If you've never seen it either, should you watch it? We'll find that out and much, much more today as we get into it. But first, the garden is back. If you're a longtime listener, we've attempted gardening a bunch of times between the two of us, more so on my end.
Yeah, and last year we did our little salsa garden. We?
How'd that go?
We had so many jalapenos.
We bought salsa.
And some cilantro.
We bought salsa.
That's true, because everything else died.
But we did get jalapenos out of it, which is just fantastic.
And cilantro.
That's right. And so that's kind of the direction we went again. This year was just, we pre-bought a couple of things because we started late in the season.
Yeah.
We're going to see what we can do with some strawberries and blueberries, bought jalapeno and a couple of tomatoes. We have no room on the porch right now.
I love it.
No room on the porch whatsoever, but we'll see how that goes. I remember at one point as we were checking out with all this stuff, Naomi says, I'm going to try so hard with these.
I am.
And I remember thinking, yes, I really am.
I am too. I'm going to water them. I'm going to try to prune them. I don't really understand what pruning is when it comes to plants.
Yeah,
I used to just let everything grow wild, and it was never a problem.
It looks like I'll be trying extra hard.
Listen, I'm going to put in some effort. A little bit anyways.
We'll hit up the YouTube before I let you loose with the scissors at the plants.
Yeah, that's probably best.
That's probably best, right? So that's what we've got. We're hoping to grow some, fruits and vegetables. That's the fun stuff. We got a couple of flowers out there too, but the fruits and vegetables for us are the fun ones.
The flowers out there are like a hummingbird mix. So once those start blooming, we should have some hummingbirds visiting us too.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. More things to duck and dodge on the porch.
It'll be fine.
More flying craziness to duck and dodge on the porch. That sounds like fun. Anyway, that's how the garden, that's what's going on with the new garden. We'll keep you updated on that until it's all dead.
That's right.
Or, until we harvest. But either way, that'll do it for that. Let's get to some random facts. I had something there. I was going to take another jab, but I said, you know what? Let's move right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. We
made
enough
fun of both of us.
Both of us. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, both of us. It's time for your recurrent dose of Did You Know? I got some random facts for episode 114. Did you know there's about 2 pounds of chromosomal DNA in your body?
No.
How? Okay.
That's that 2 pounds you just can't lose,
That's that too. That's right. Is that right around the midsection there? Okay.
That's my chromosomes. Can't lose that.
The chromosomal DNA.
Yeah.
Did you know mosquitoes have killed more people than all of the wars in history combined?
Didn't know that, but I knew that they had killed a lot just because they carry so many disgusting diseases.
Tens of billions of people with diseases.
I believe it.
How about that? Did you know Hall and Oates met when they were both at a concert in Philadelphia and a gang fight broke out?
That's crazy.
So they hopped in an elevator to get away from gunshots and found out they both went to Temple University and became friends.
Interesting.
Not friends anymore. At least I wouldn't think they were. Did you know roughly 4.5 trillion cigarette butts are littered every year?
It's a lot.
Makes them the most littered item on the planet.
Yeah, but now you can recycle them and they make lawn furniture
That's
out of
right.
those cigarette butts.
Yeah, there's a cool, what is that?
Plastic Ocean
Plastic Ocean
Project.
Project does that here in the Wilmington area. If you need to get a hold of anybody for any kind of cleanup efforts for fundraising or whatnot,
Go there.
that is super cool because they take all the cigarette butts off the beach and do something worthwhile with them. Oh, we got one more. And finally, did you know Chris Farley was originally supposed to be the Amish bowler in Kingpin?
Really?
Yeah, and you know exactly who I'm talking about now, don't you?
I do. I get this reference now.
A couple episodes back, Naomi watched Kingpin for the first time. But Chris couldn't do it because he was contractually obligated to do Black Sheep,
Oh, okay.
which was another Under a Rock review.
It was.
That was a very early Under a Rock review, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So that role, of course, ended up going to Randy Quaid. And there you go. That is your daily dose of Did You Know? Daily dose. Your recurrent dose of Did You Know?
Messed it up.
Every once in a while, they slip up in there. Oh, man, I just closed all of my pages.
Oh, my goodness.
That's right. So now we got to do this much slower and much weirder. What was I going to do next? All right.
I don't
here's this one.
remember.
So have you ever had jury duty,
No.
first of all?
Nope.
Never had jury. Have you even been like called
Nope.
for jury duty
I have not.
at all? All right.
I
so,
don't really feel like talking about this because I feel like just putting that out there in the universe is going to jinx me, and I'm going to get a letter in the mail this week.
Yeah, right. Like we're going to end up jinxed or whatnot. But so it is, well, in this case, let's just call it 1,000,000 to 1. Husband and wife in Northern California were both picked for the same jury.
That's interesting.
So I've been called, I think, once, and then like I filled out the form, sent it back, and then I got the call that was like a recording that was like you don't have to come in because the case had been adjourned or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Humboldt County, Northern California, they were both picked for the same jury. Apparently, that can happen.
It seems so highly unlikely, though.
It is very unlikely. So in this county, in this case specifically, there are about 136,000 people. 106,000 of them are adults, and then they only send out a certain number of summons each week.
Yeah.
And then of course only 12 are selected. So it is a 0.0000001% chance.
Wow. If they're not playing the lottery, I mean, come on.
They should. You would
Yeah.
think, right? So their names are David and Tori Wilmington, which is interesting because we're
That is.
sitting in Wilmington right now. And
This sounds like a fake story.
they served on a drunk driving case, so it wasn't like something crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were both cool with being on the jury, and the wife was actually excited because she's never served before.
Okay.
So I don't know. Some people, I guess, still get excited about serving on a jury, but they also would do it again, they said, if they defy the odds. The wife said serving our community together is not something new for us, so they do charity work and things
Oh,
like
that's
that.
cute.
Yeah. She says this is just a different way for us to serve our community together, which I guess looking at it that way is fine.
Sure.
I would have made it a problem.
That if we were on the same jury?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could get kicked out of it and not have to deal with it. I know who you are.
I mean, like, they'd be asking you questions, and, you'd be sitting either next to me or say you're at the other end of the row or whatever, because they would eventually separate us.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not what she said last night!
Yeah, you wouldn't make it very far.
That's right. No,
You haven't before,
That's-
and you won't now.
that's not what she told me. She thought about the case. No,
She talked about it, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right. I heard her talking with her mom on the phone.
I feel like I would be like Stanley from The Office, where like I'm excited about jury duty because I get like a lunch break or something.
Yeah, right. You get free lunch and stuff.
Yeah.
If you end up sequestered and whatnot, how do they handle that? Because, like, then they get to save money on hotel because they only have to get to one room for 2 people.
They probably did that on purpose.
That's right. Oh man, and then being sequestered too would be like just a weird. Again, I would just cause trouble.
I know
it
you
would be
would.
like a field trip from life. Honestly,
Listen, you cause trouble everywhere you go. Why would jury duty be any different?
I mean, a little bit,
Yeah.
So they asked the husband about this, and they called it a fun take in the article, but it sounds to me like he's just trying to kiss ass because he's like, being with my wife means that I don't always snap so quickly to stand my ground. You're going to have disagreements. He says, we always do because we view things in different lights. He says, you have to learn to shut up for a few minutes and absorb what information you've just received, rather than just let the emotional response happen.
So she probably yelled at him in front of everybody.
You know?
And was like, you're going to listen to me talk. And he went, yes, ma'am. And shut right down.
Can you see that though? Like the jury's like split right down the middle, and the husband's on one, like leader of the one side, the wife's like the leader of the other, and they're like shaking fist at each other across the table and bringing personal shit into it that none of the rest of the room knows about.
That's it. You're sleeping on the couch.
This is for the time you broke my figurine.
Everyone else is just sitting there finishing up their lunch going, lunch and a show. This is nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that happened in California. And
Interesting.
these poor folks say they would do that again.
Whatever floats their boat.
How about that? All right, now I got to find the next one because I forgot where it went. Should I edit all this out or just leave my rambling in?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
All right.
I mean,
well,
you do ramble a lot.
I don't know. What was the next one I was going to do? Hold on. I got to go over here. Oh, yeah. So this one is crazy. This woman in Virginia is just at a margarita place, you know, I imagine Mexican restaurant or something, and a snake landed in her margarita.
Okay.
That's the one I was looking for, and I still can't find it. It's somewhere in Richmond, Virginia. So I guess the story goes, she and her husband were finishing up dinner. They ate at the bar.
Okay.
And we're finishing up dinner, and I guess she turned around or something like to leave the bar and go get another table or whatever. She felt something hit her head and was like, the hell was that? And looked in her drink, and it was a baby snake.
That's so weird. So, like, maybe a bird flying overhead?
They were
had
indoors.
The little... Oh. Okay, that's weird. So there was a baby snake, like, slithering on the ceiling?
I like
That's
that you're
weird.
immediately trying to solve the mystery, though.
Yeah.
Like how it happened. That's good that your mind's going there because you
Yeah.
know, if you're outside, that's an excellent, you know, maybe a bird flying overhead.
And
Yeah.
dropped a snake, yeah.
So there is a really bad photo of it that you can look at right now if you're on YouTube listening. An employee tried to grab the snake with a stick and like fling it out of the drink or something like that.
Just
But
take the drink.
another customer apparently got up and grabbed the snake and brought it outside and like threw it in the bushes
Yeah.
or whatever. No word if they gave her another drink or thought she was going to.
I would hope that they would. No, it's fine. If there's venom in there, that's even better, you know?
So apparently they were trying to get her to stay after that. They're like, you know, we'll move you to a booth. She's like, no. I'm
Yeah, I
leaving.
would probably want to go home after that.
Yeah.
I'm done.
It was a baby snake again, but it's still, you know, that's kind of freaky. They comped her meal, so that's the good news. And
So she should be set then.
the owner thinks that the snake got in through the air conditioner, fell from the ceiling, bounced off her head, landed in the drink, and all that. The woman thinks that they might have a snake infestation, so she says she's never going to go back.
Oh,
I mean, that's a little
gosh.
far to go, don't you think?
Yes.
It would take me a minute to go back, but I'd go back eventually. I would just always be looking up or trying to sit outside.
I think it would just depend. Like you said, it could be possibly a Mexican restaurant. How good are those tacos? Because, I mean, if those tacos are really good, I'll be back next week. It's
Good with the
fine.
margaritas.
That's right. If they're that good, like, who cares?
They
The
gotta-
chances of it happening twice, you know, probably the same as the married couple on jury
On
duty.
jury duty, right?
Yeah.
Pretty slim. So they got to take opportunity, you know, when they can get it and make a snake bite margarita.
Yes.
Or snake venom margarita, something like that,
Yes.
right? Like you got to do that. Go nuts with it. So, and especially because like a reporter asked the owner what they're planning to do about it, and he said nothing. So
Yeah.
like, no, that's not gonna happen. Like,
Where
it's a
is
fluke.
your marketing team, sir?
Oh yeah, go get yourself a snake drop, snake venom.
I like snake venom.
Yeah,
Like, that's kind of a cooler name.
snake juice for all our Parks
There
and
you
Rec
go.
fans
Yes,
out there.
snake
How about
juice.
that? That's a crazy one, I think. So then this one is going to end up being our question of the week because I absolutely love goofy stuff like this. What is something? I don't know if you do it as much. You know I do this, and I'm wondering if your parents do this at all. What is something that you say incorrectly on purpose?
That's a great question. Yes, you do that a lot with a lot of things. So much so that sometimes I think you forget how to say things correctly.
I have.
Yeah.
You know, I do talk every day on the radio for a living, and the amount of times that I've almost said something incorrectly because I say it wrong on purpose. So, for example, I cannot correctly say, I just can't. We're Worcestershire sauce. I cannot say it any other way.
That's fine.
Worcestershire.
It's okay. Nobody can say that correctly
Really,
anyway.
nobody can, but I can't even come close at this point because I've been purposely saying it wrong for so long that I've just forgotten.
How it's supposed to go. Yeah.
So there's that. Worcestershire sauce. On the internet, people got after this. I think it was Reddit or something like that and asked everybody, what is your best I say it wrong on purpose example?
I think my favorite is just interwebs.
Interwebs?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I read that on the interwebs.
That is, I should have hit you with this earlier and have you come up with a couple. But
that's like the biggest one. I feel like I try to say things correctly.
You do, though.
Yeah.
You do. I always liked saying things dumb because they hit the ear wrong. And like that started, I think, from Saturday Night Live and like Mike Myers when he would say you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
And like that always.
But you would do it a lot when we did our morning show in New Mexico when we did celebrity news.
That's right. Kardashians.
Yep, and Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah.
Those two were like
having
my
fun with those.
favorite that you would mess up.
Kardashians.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them, so I didn't know how to say it correctly.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So on the interwebs, they asked everybody this. What's your best I say it wrong on purpose example? The Google is one of the answers.
I like that, yes.
They say that this person who gave the answer said mostly to annoy their kids. Someone else said they'd like to say, I'll give it a goog. It's terrible. I'm
No, I love
scared
it.
of falling into that. I'll give it a goog.
I love it.
I want to make that a thing.
I do too. That would be phenomenal.
If we were still live for 3 hours in the morning, I would
That's
start
exactly
saying this.
what would
I gotta look
happen,
this. Somebody
yeah.
give this a goog for me. I'll give it a goog. I love this.
I'll give it a goog.
Uh,
I want to write that down.
You should. There's pens about.
Oh, there is. I got this. I am writing this down.
This one, I don't even remember the SNL bit, but strategery instead of strategy. And I have been saying strategery for
forever.
So much so that I didn't even remember where it came from.
That's funny.
Strategery, especially when we would have league night back in the day and play video games online. Give it a goog. You're writing down, you got to remember to give it a goog.
I did write that down. I couldn't remember the actual word for a second there. I was like, dang it, what am I supposed to say?
Search this on Yahoo. I'll give it a goog. Ask Jeeves.
I miss S. Jeeves.
You do, don't you?
I do.
Alta Vista, for our Parks and Rec friends. Strategery, the next one is Merlot with the T.
Yes, I like that.
Or Escargot and the Chablis.
Yeah.
That's a Family Guy one.
Where we live, all the places are named after wines. And so I've gotten used to saying all of them wrong. Like Chianti is Chianti and things like that.
Because nobody else knows how to pronounce them, right?
Correct. Yes.
That's so funny.
Or Chablis is, like you said, Chablis or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, the Chablis.
Yeah.
How about deers? Somebody says, the plural of deer incorrectly. Right?
Deers,
so
okay.
It's deers. We have a couple of people that we know from Canada that say beer without the S as plural. Like, I drank 4 beer.
Yes.
And it just kills me every time. That I don't know if they do that on purpose or not, but it's hilarious.
It just happens.
How about it's not rocket surgery?
Yeah, that one's one of my favorites.
That's
I
a great
love
one.
when people say that.
I like, shout out to Trailer Park Boys, it doesn't take rocket appliances to know that.
Nice.
From Ricky,
yes.
It's all water under the fridge. Now, I know Filthy Kyle is out there just freaking out because Kyle will do this, but not on purpose. So right now, Filthy, we're talking about the list of people doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
But Kyle has a list that I could read that would probably take 10 minutes to get through.
I've heard part of this list.
Incorrectly on accident, where he mixes metaphors and stuff. That is...
Yeah, he usually puts 2 of them together.
Yes. Not my bag of tea is one of my favorites. So there's that. But that list, we'll get to. That's another list for another time. Well, we're going to have to break that out.
I think
eventually.
so, yeah.
But again, this is people who do this on purpose. So
I like the, what is it?
Water under the fridge?
It's water under the fridge.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Someone said my mom would say urethra instead of eureka. Urethra Franklin.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
My dad does this one, pronounces Arkansas as Arkansas.
Yeah. My dad does too.
I think my mom does that now too because of my dad. And I mean, they haven't been together in 40 years? Something like that. Pronouncing Pokemon incorrectly. I don't even know if I say Pokemon correctly or not.
I think you do. I think that's how it's supposed to be said.
Another one is skizzers, to be funny, instead of scissors. Sandwich, or in my family, it's sandwich.
Sandwich.
It's sandwich. It's a sandwich in our household now. McDonald's.
Okay, yeah.
There's also, McDo, Mickey D's, stuff like that. But McDonald's. Saying espresso on purpose instead of espresso.
Sure.
Someone said, I was sick of people correcting me, whether I say GIF or GIF. Whichever I say will be wrong to somebody, so I just call them GIFs. Just go way the other way.
Why not?
G stands for graphics. Someone said, my dad keeps pronouncing the word vegan as vegan, even though I've corrected him many, many times.
Are you vegan?
Vegan. I love that. Vegan and giving it a goog.
Giving it a goog.
Some people got silly with the answer, saying stuff like, I'm living bi-curiously or self-defecating instead of self-deprecating.
I like that one too.
Irregardless.
Yeah.
It's just regardless. But, most people I think do that because they don't know.
Yeah, or they just don't care. Like,
But-
I'm not going to fix it.
Yeah.
This is the way I am.
And then someone said screenshot instead of screenshot.
It's pretty good.
So let us know. What is the I say it wrong on purpose, your best one, your favorite one? What's the one you say almost every single day? I know from my father says antiques instead of antiques.
I like that.
I don't know where he got that from, but that's been a whole life thing. And Arkansas was another one. There's another one my dad would say all the time too, but I could probably write a book with all the stuff that he would say wrong on purpose.
Yeah, my dad used to like doing that stuff all the time. And then I think he, too, got too used to saying things wrong that he started always saying everything wrong and went, oh, shoot, I went a little too far with this.
We're Chestershire sauce. I'm going to try to be a little bit more present when I say these things now, so I'll try to have a list for next week.
We'll see what happens.
And maybe we do Filthy's all his incorrect ones, because there's some gems on there, and we just got a new one or two recently.
We definitely have to get to that list, and no time like the present,
Yeah, for sure. So
Well, sort of present.
next week.
next
present.
week,
No time
present.
like the future. Present.
No time like next week.
No time like episode next. So, all right. What's your best I say it wrong on purpose? Looking forward to these. I know Snowman's going to weigh in on this one. We got a couple of people who are definitely going to drop some
Some good
gems.
ones, yeah.
Can't wait to see them. Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you want to leave your comment. Text us if you have the number, even.
Sounds good.
Well, especially because I know my dad's going to listen and just send me 14 of them. So
That's fine.
that's how that'll go down. We'll get to those all next week, next episode, on episode 115. I can't wait. This is going to be just as unhinged as some of our more recent stuff. Like The Last Thing You Ate is now the name of our puppy.
It's such a cute puppy. It needs a great name.
I just want to. We did not get a puppy. We're not getting a puppy. That's not our
No.
dog. Just in case.
The picture is just a cute puppy.
Yeah. So
That's
we got some fun answers with this one. My dad says toast, first of all, which I think fits the dog
It really does.
because of the colors that, fluffy little puppy kind of
Yeah.
lightly toasted color.
Oh, I'd probably call it lightly toasted.
Lightly
Come here,
toasted.
lightly toasted.
That's right. Lightly toasted. Snowman says pizza. Said what kind? He said all the meats. So what do we call the dog? All the meats pizza.
Just all the meats.
Just all the meats.
You leave out the pizza part. Pizza is like the middle last name-ish that you just don't really
You
care
get
about.
6 months in, the dog's just called Meaty. It's actually not his real name. It's a long story. Just call him Meaty, okay? Meaty. All right. Juan says chimichanga.
Yes.
So that's a huge problem because now I really want a chimichanga.
Also, can you imagine calling that dog? Come here, Chimmy. Come on. Come on, Chimmy.
I like
Come
changa.
on, Chonga.
Yeah, I like changa. We'll go with the changa side.
Especially as a cute little puppy. Come on, Chonga.
Changa.
You think it's a massive dog that's going to come around
That's
this
right.
corner. It's just a cute little puppy.
And it's a chihuahua.
Yeah.
That's right. Let's see. He says, Steven says taco with ranch.
Yes.
He knows.
I love it.
Taco with ranch. Nice one, Steven.
So what do you call the dog then? Because you can't just say, hey, come here, taco with ranch.
Yeah, you do. Taco with ranch.
Come on.
You just make it one word. All
Okay.
one word. Taco with ranch.
Guess it works.
And then that one ends up morphing into something. He's just called Hidden Valley after 6 months. That's where you go with that one. My mom said lean cuisine. It'd be funny, especially if it turns out to be a fat dog.
Yes.
Lean cuisine, come on in.
Come on, Leanie.
I just remember the Beethoven movies?
Yes.
The big dog. I don't know if it was the first one or second one, whatever. But they're naming the dog, and they all. You never seen Beethoven, right?
No, I have not.
Of course you haven't.
I remember
It's
seeing
okay.
like the cover for it.
I expect you to not have seen them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why we're doing this. But I guess we'll have to put Beethoven on the list at some point when you need a goofy family movie.
Yeah.
So they're all coming up with names for the dog. It must be the second one or whatever. And I don't know what exactly they said the name was, but the father just goes, I don't think it'd be okay if I was yelling that to the neighbors. You know, if the neighbors heard me yelling that to the dog every morning.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of for every one of these. Just standing on the porch in the morning calling the dog.
I think it'd be great.
Cheese wonton!
I'd love that. I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's got to be the coolest dog ever.
Cheese wonton is Kaylin's.
I love it.
Amanda says Cheerio because I work with Amanda. She was actually eating raw Cheerios as we were talking about this. So she jumped on and said Cheerios. Tracy says Eggo, which is a good note. That's a very fitting one with this dog, too.
It's cute.
I like that one. Eggo's a good one. Almonds from Trudy.
Nice. Okay.
Genesee Joe from New York says hot dog.
Come here, hot dog.
That doesn't surprise me either because Joe's a radio guy, so he probably really was eating a hot dog at some point, like in the middle of talking on the air.
Also, I'm not against naming a dog hot dog.
Hot dog, right. And it's not, especially if it's not a dachshund.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't be a
You can't
dachshund.
name a dachshund hot dog.
No.
Because that's just too on the nose. And finally, Paul says Martini Olive. What a good boy.
Ooh, I like that one.
I like Martini Olive. That is up there amongst my favorites. But
I think I would call it Martini. Come here, Martini.
Teeny-O is how you got to go there.
Oh, I like that. Teeny-O.
That's right. And, what's that one morph into after 6 months, too?
It morphed into Teeny-O. It doesn't need to go any further.
We're starting off as Teeny-O.
Okay.
I'm telling you. I like that one, Paul. That's got my vote, but it's not my choice.
I'm sorry, Paul. It's a really good answer. It is. But come on. Chimichanga.
Chimichanga's your favorite.
Yes.
Because
come
you
here,
got multiple-
Chimmy, and come here, Changa.
So whatever that name, the dominant one ends up being, say it ends up being Chimmy, then you just get another dog and you name that one Changa.
I think you use both nicknames depending on how you're feeling about the dog that day. Come here, Chimmy,
The
and
most confused
come on,
dog
Changa.
in the world.
That's fine.
Imagine going to the vet like that or like into a store or something like that. Come on in, Chimmy.
Changa.
Let's go. Wait,
Yeah.
Did you come in here with 2 dogs? What
Nope,
the hell?
it's the same one. We just, depends on if we're happy and it's a good boy or if it's being a bad boy. Changa.
So those are our favorite answers from the from last episode's question. You can still jump in on that one if you want to get in on it. Absolutely. And for next week, of course, I say it wrong on purpose. What is your best? I say it wrong on purpose. Word, phrase, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't.
I can't wait for those. Those should be just as fun. And then it's going to be a problem for you picking out a listener of the week with those because do you pick one that just is so dumb?
Whatever makes me laugh the hardest, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Challenge. The gauntlet has been thrown down, gang. You can leave your
right.
answers wherever. If you're on YouTube, leave them there. If you're on Spotify, leave them there. If you want to head over to Facebook, do that.
If you're on the Goog, leave them there.
Yes, you can just hit the Goog. We come up. Give us a Goog. You really like that, don't you?
I love it.
Give us a Goog.
I'll give it a Goog.
All right. Who was it? Was that Juan? That was
The Chimichanga?
Yeah.
I believe so.
All right, Juan, congrats on Listener of the Week.
Woo!
Listener of episode, what is
114.
Well, this is 114.
Yeah.
Is he this episode's listener or last episode's listener?
Oh, I don't know. Why do we have to
Listener of the
open
week,
up
Juan.
this can
Listener
of
of the
worms?
week. Congratulations, my man. All right.
There you
Listener
go.
of the week is good enough. How
Yeah.
about that? All right. It is now time to get all dark and serious, and here we go.
Music fits this time.
That's right, it does. Time to get into Naomi's Under a Rock review of Watchmen. We'll ask you all the review questions afterwards, but were you even aware of this movie? Do you know anything about it? Were you aware of the giant blue dong throughout?
I wasn't. aware of that, so that was a surprise.
By the way, I almost opened the show to welcome to the Big Blue Dong review.
That's right.
But I don't
Well, I don't really review that part of the movie. I actually don't think I mention it in my notes at all.
Phew.
I don't remember because there's a lot of notes because that movie is long.
It's a lot of pressure for a husband to sit through a movie like that.
Yeah, okay,
You
yeah.
know? All right. On that note, take it away.
All right, bear with me again. Lots of notes. But also, I tried to keep them short. So, obviously, like, a lot's going to be missing here. That's
okay. We'll do our best to fill in the gaps.
Yeah. So, we start with a lot of talk about nuclear war and Soviets doing bomb testing, you know, a bunch of scary stuff.
Oh, yeah, the huge.
The tone of the movie is already scary. And the opening credits haven't even hit the screen.
Yeah, right.
Then we get two guys fighting, and where the superhero aspects start coming in because they're like punching holes in the brick walls and flipping each other over glass tables. I don't know who either of these people are, but the one has a pin on his robe, the guy that was like at his house, and the pin is a yellow smiley face pin, which I've seen before. I've seen blood on it, so we'll see what all that means.
No, you know, before you watch the movie or already
Yes,
in the
before
movie?
I saw the movie.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, someone showed up at his door, and this is where the fighting started. So the guy with the pin is basically getting his ass kicked when he says, "It was all a joke, mother forgive me." And that's when the blood drips on the yellow smiley face pin before he's thrown out a window.
Out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we meet Rorschach.
Hell yeah.
He has this
I guess.
I am Batman gravelly voice. I think, he's the vigilante here, but maybe he's not really well liked. That's the kind of vibes I'm getting here.
Good vibes.
He's got to
Good
be
instinct.
He's got to be a main character though, because he has a mask that's white with the black spots that change.
Well, I mean, you existed in 2009 and 10, right? So you know,
Yes.
so I mean, yeah, it's a good bet, a good gamble to make.
But again, he's got that mask with the white and the black spots that change, and that's the only thing I do know about this movie.
All right.
Besides that pin with the smiley
right.
face, those are the two things I knew going into this movie.
Which, yeah, that makes sense.
So this guy's got to be important, right? All right. Anyway, Rorschach is peeking around the crime scene where we just saw that guy get murdered. So I'm learning they're superheroes. There was a whole group of them that started wearing masks and uniforms because that's what gangs that were committing crimes were doing back then. They had masks on and couldn't be identified. So these superheroes started to do that. But they're not superheroes anymore. Seems like people don't like them. They're kind of like the villains now,
Yeah, they have basically been vilified by the government.
Yeah. So Rorschach was one of these superheroes. So is the comedian. That's the guy that died in the beginning with the smiley face pin. So we learned that the superhero group was called the Watchmen. Okay.
Sure. The original group called the Minutemen, and then the newer one called the Watchmen. Yeah.
I don't really get into much of those details. I think at only one point that I mentioned that there's two different groups there, like one that morphed into the other one. They're called the Watchmen. Only two have come forth and actually revealed their identity. And the one has made it into a huge money-making business for himself. That's Adrian. We also meet Dr. Manhattan, which was also one of the Watchmen, and Silk Spectre.
Yeah.
Who happens to be the second Silk Spectre.
That's right. She took up the mantle after her mother.
Yes. So I didn't realize that at that point because I thought the first one was dead or dying or something like that. Well, I guess she's dying.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. So there's a lot going on as we meet all these characters. We meet the character. They show us a little bit of the backstory, their connection to the Watchmen, all that. I like it because it's basically like uncovering a puzzle piece, and then you see how it's fitting with the rest of the story. I like the storytelling aspect of this because it wasn't laid out in front of you in black and white. You got to hear the backstories in a very creative way, and I enjoyed that while I was watching this.
It's all pretty cool. The whole first act, first third of the movie is. I love how they set everything up too. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, Rorschach went to see Dr. Manhattan and warned him that, the comedian being dead, that the rest of the Watchmen may be a target, because if there is a nuclear holocaust, the only people that would be able to stop it would be the Watchmen. So he believes that they're being targeted right now.
That makes sense.
But at this point, Dr. Manhattan pretty much just blew him off, just like he did with Daniel. Or, I'm sorry, just like Daniel did with Rorschach.
Yeah.
A.k.a. Night Owl, earlier, because he had gone to him earlier saying the same thing, and he was basically like, you're being paranoid.
I love how everything here has its, old superhero feel to it. Like, Dan's house, he's got the bat cave,
Yeah.
underneath, and it's all, he's got all this gear down there and all that stuff. And the comedian had his closet where,
Yes.
you see his all in, like,
They had their secrets tucked away.
it's so cool. And they have, they take the time to show you that, Alan Moore and Zack Snyder and all that stuff is really cool.
Yeah. So we learn a little bit more about the comedian and basically how he wasn't a good guy. Like, he may have been a superhero, but he definitely wasn't good. Like, he tried to rape the first Silk Spectre, and he slept with some girl in Vietnam and got her pregnant. And when he confronted her, he shot her. Like, he's a slime ball.
Yeah, that's some abrupt stuff right there. That's for sure.
Yeah, probably a good thing he's dead too. So whatever.
Yeah.
At this point, though, I'm wondering who killed him, who had him killed, all that. I'm getting more invested in the story. And the whole time, too, like the way you learn more about the comedian, and then you learn that he's kind of a slime ball and all that. But also, like, he's over here thinking he's doing a good job. He says their society's only protection from themselves. Yeesh. And it's like, gross, dude. Gross. So Dr. Manhattan and Silk Spectre were an item, apparently. But he was busy working while being intimate with her, so she had enough and left him.
I knew of all the things
that I would mention that.
That was going to make it into the notes.
Oh, absolutely.
How many times you do that, fellas, and that's all you can hear about for the next month.
Listen, he had like multiple beings of himself
That's what I'm talking
playing with her while he's busy working in the other room.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
A video game in one hand.
Just stop it.
It's a relatable problem is all I'm saying.
Anyways, so she left him. She went to go hang out with Daniel for a little while. Dr. Manhattan goes on a talk show.
I think. Just Dan.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan. You know how many times it took me to remember Dr. Manhattan, and I kept wanting to just say Mr. Manhattan.
Mr. Manhattan.
Don't know
you
why.
like that alliteration, don't you? That's the
I
old
think
school
that's what
radio
it is. Yeah. He goes on a talk show while Silk Spectre and Dan go meet with Hollis.
It's going to be a problem.
Another old superhero, for their weekly beer session.
Hollis was the first Night Owl, if you didn't catch that.
Oh, I did not catch that.
Yes.
Okay. I thought they were in the same group, like the Watchmen group.
Yeah, Hollis was from the original crew.
The Minutemen ones.
Silk Spectre's mom was in that one, but somehow the comedian's old enough to be in both.
Both of them, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But on their way over there, as they walk through an alley, a bunch of guys try to corner them, not knowing that they were once superheroes, and now they're all going to get their ass kicked, which is exactly what happens.
Violently, too.
Oh, yeah. Some really gross scenes with blood and broken bones and all that. A little too gory for me.
It was rough.
Yeah. Dr. Manhattan's interview goes really badly, and it's believed that the closest people to him got cancer because of him. And then we get a glimpse of his backstory, which isn't as terrible as like the comedian's, but it's still pretty bad.
It's rough, right?
He leaves his wife or girlfriend, whoever she was, for a younger woman because she's gotten older. Like, he admits it, like, no remorse, no care. Well, you are getting older, I can see the lines in your face and all. And it's just like, what the hell? Like, I get that he's just being honest. There's like no filter there, but
yeah, and he's starting to lose his grip on humanity and stuff like that. And those are like the first signs and things where he just,
What a horrible thing to do, though, and not having those feelings of remorse. He's just tired of dealing with people and being caught up in their lives. But the truth is, that is what life is you are caught up in the lives of the people that surround you, whether you want to be or not.
That's right. Life lessons from Naomi.
At this point, though...
Get him. Naomi chews out Dr. Manhattan.
Wait. Hang on. The next lines in my notes were, wow, I'm going to hate all these superheroes by the end of the movie. Am I supposed to? Is that the reaction they were trying to get out of me? Because it's working. Yeah, I was really mad. These slime bags.
Excellent realization.
Slime bags. That's my new one.
Just slime bags.
Yeah, that's my word that I'm going to purposely say wrong now. Slime bags. All right. So Rorschach goes to this old villain's house looking for more answers, but the guy is dead and it was a setup. Before he could do anything, the police were already there and knew he was there as well. He tried to fight his way out, but he isn't able to. The police overpower him, and we learn that his name is Walter Kovacs.
That's right. Wally Kovacs.
I was really bummed. I never wanted to know his identity.
Oh, for real?
When they were getting ready to rip that mask off, I was just like, don't do it. Like, something's got to happen. And then we see his face. And I'm like, what the hell?
Jackie Earle Haley.
I wasn't supposed to see his face.
That was like one of his first movies, I think, since Bad News Bears. He was a child star.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in the original Bad News Bears with Walter Matthau.
Interesting.
Walter
okay.
Matthau.
All right. So, our buddy's in prison now.
Our buddy.
Yep. And that's where we learn his backstory. I don't think he's as bad as the other people we've met so far.
You've literally said that about everybody's back. He's not as bad as the other ones, but...
So the comedian started off bad, then, Dr. Manhattan was bad, but not as bad, and this guy's not as bad as Dr. Manhattan. They're getting better as they go along, I guess.
That's right. Even the Cleaver scene. Still not as bad as leaving her because of the wrinkles.
Dude, that guy deserved it.
He did. That's all.
So I'm okay with it. And that's my next line says, he is killed, but those people deserved it. So I don't care. I'm fine. They were monsters.
Note to self. Don't say anything about the wrinkles.
That's right. That's where I draw the line.
Listen, I knew that a long time ago. I didn't need to learn that from Rorschach.
There you go. But yeah, so he's killed, but those people have deserved it. They were monsters. Also, we have the most awesomest prison scene where a guy is like trying to egg him on and he attacks him and tells everyone, I'm not locked in here with you. You're all locked in here with me, which was just badass.
Is that
was so cool.
I knew there was no way that wasn't making the notes because the reaction was visceral when it happened. When you watched it, you had a real reaction. So I was like, oh, this is definitely making the notes. I won't have to remind anybody about that one.
No, I like this guy. And I also liked when they were doing the ink blot test, and every ink blot, he saw something horrific from his past, but then he was like, a butterfly. Pretty flowers.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He's awesome.
It was great.
Rorschach is great.
Yes.
Creepy
he really
and
is.
weird and apparently smelly, but really great.
Huh. Okay.
When the cops take him down outside of Moloch's place, when they arrest him, they grab him. The first cop to grab him goes, "Oh my God, he stinks!"
Oh, that's right. They did say that.
Which I feel like he did on purpose, in case
it would throw you off. If you're grabbing or fighting at someone and they just reek, you're gonna kind of take a step back be like,
think twice.
Do I really want to go through with this?
And don't forget, he's psychological warfare guy.
Yeah.
So boom.
So Dan and Silk Spectre decide to take Archimedes out. What's the name of his? Archimedes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Merlin's pet owl.
Their old flying ship from crime fighting.
One of the coolest flying ship type things, I think. It hovers. It's got the cloud cover thing. It shoots fire.
Sure.
Pretty awesome. Underwater.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you ask for?
It seems...
bulky?
Yeah, it just seems kind of weird.
It's like a blob?
Yeah.
I mean, what did you want?
I don't know.
Wings?
Something more stylish, sleek, futuristic for the 1980s.
It's pretty sleek.
No.
Not the way you're thinking.
Anyways, they take it out. They rescue people from a burning
it's a flying
building.
pair of binoculars.
All that. And then they decide to help Rorschach escape prison, seeing as he shouldn't be in there in the first place.
I like that. Dan's like, we're old partners, and he kind of got framed anyway. I know he belongs in there, but he got framed. Let's break him out.
He doesn't belong in there. He's fine.
The logic is sound.
He escapes, and Silk Spectre is taken to Mars to have a little chat with Dr. Manhattan, because that's where he ran off after his botched interview.
Like a little chat.
Yeah. She's there to try to convince...
So nonchalantly. She's taken to Mars to have a little chat with Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened.
It is, but you're just so matter of fact about it. Like,
Yeah, because who cares?
not even like, bro, it's Mars. Oh my God. No, went to Mars.
Whatever. Listen, the other guy's got a fortress in Antarctica. Who cares?
They had to have a marital up there. They had a discussion.
It's fine. She's there to try to convince him to save the world before nuclear war kills everyone, but Dr. Manhattan is not having it. In the meantime, Dan and Rorschach do some digging to find out who's behind this Pyramid Enterprises, the man who was hired to kill Adrian, and who is the link to who's trying to kill the masked heroes, all that. They find out it's Adrian. Like, he owns the freaking company,
Yeah. Follow the money, of course.
Well, that's what the answer always is. He put the hit out, and probably put the hit out on the comedian, too. Silk Spectre finds out that her dad is the comedian, and now she believes her life is one big joke. Like how that line keeps coming around. But her tears help sway Dr. Manhattan to try to help save the world. In the meantime, Rorschach and Dan make their way to Antarctica to try and take down Adrian.
See, look at shout out to Archimedes for making it from New York to Antarctica. By the way,
It had a hard time.
It got there.
Yeah, but it had a hard time.
And it got him home.
Sure.
Once he rerouted the flamethrower thing to heat up the Wang Doodle Johnson.
Yeah.
All
right. Adrian explains everything, and Rorschach is like, we can't let you do that. You can't blow up half the planet, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, they were going to nuke like 5 cities.
Yeah, but Adrian explains that it's already been done. He's like, this isn't a comic book where I tell you my plan so you have time to stop me. I've already done it. And you can see on the screen that, like, that's exactly what had happened. It already happened in London and Hong Kong.
He's got the screens behind him, right?
And all of that stuff. And we get to New York City, and it's on the countdown for, like, the last 10 seconds. And that's when we get to see this insane scene where a blast takes out New York City. Like I said, it wasn't just New York City, though. It was massive cities all over the world. The idea of killing millions of people to save billions in the long run, because sooner or later humans are going to kill each other off and our species would go extinct. But the explosions weren't nuclear blast. The power and the wave were created to look like Dr. Manhattan did it.
Yeah.
Which, what the heck, man?
We'll turn everybody on the planet against Dr. Manhattan, and we won't be fighting amongst each other.
I get it, but what simple. The heck, man?
Yeah.
And that's when Adrian explains all of that, that it makes sense to blame Dr. Manhattan. Otherwise, the peace and coming together that the world is currently experiencing after these blasts would quickly dissolve, and the world would once again be on the brink of nuclear holocaust. Dr. Manhattan is there. He hears all this. He agrees. He doesn't condone it, but he agrees. Everyone realizes that they're beat, and this is basically the best possible outcome, except Rorschach, who makes it very clear that he's not going to stand for this. As he leaves Adrian's Antarctica lair, Dr. Manhattan tries to stop him. Rorschach knows that the only way for him to stop him is if Dr. Manhattan kills him, and Dr. Manhattan knows this too, and that's what happens.
Yep.
Dr. Manhattan kills Rorschach. What the heck?
Well, Rorschach was going to go tell everybody.
He's the best character.
Yep.
And now he's dead. This movie does not have a happy ending. I mean, they wrap it up with Silk Spectre reuniting with her mom and letting her know that she knows that the comedian is her dad, all that. But no, Rorschach is dead. And an evil man wins. because that was the best possible outcome.
Well, he's not really evil.
Yes, he is.
He's just...
Killing millions to save billions is still evil. It's killing millions.
I mean, it's the same thing Thanos
It's killing
did,
innocents. Yeah, and Thanos was evil.
Yeah, Thanos went about it in a more evil way, I think.
I think both ways are pretty frickin' evil when you think about it.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, so I won't mess up your brain with the giant space squid.
Anyway, let me finish my notes on this movie.
All right.
Talking about Adrian being evil because he is. His company seems to be behind a lot of the rebuilding in New York City. Did we notice that one?
Sounds like Stark Enterprises, Industries.
So not only did he kill a bunch of people, he profited from it before their deaths, but then profits from the rebuilding of all these cities.
There you go.
Cool. Tell me he's not evil.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, whatever. Rorschach is dead. This movie's dead.
So you're bummed that he's not going to be in the sequel. There's not a sequel.
I was going to say, there better not be a sequel. I'm not watching a sequel.
There is...
You can't...
HBO did a one-season series that was, I guess, a little more closely based on the comics, or more of the comics, something like that. I'm sure I'll get several emails explaining exactly what the correlation is there, or how that works. But we'll check that out eventually, too. No rush to do that. And that definitely won't be on the Under a Rock review, because we don't do TVs and whole seasons and stuff like that.
That's right.
But we will, and then I believe the Space Squid comes into play there.
Yeah, I don't care about a space squid.
Is that all your notes?
It's my notes.
All right, that's Watchmen, Naomi's Under a Rock review. Wonderful. Did you like it?
I did like it. It was a great movie. It
All
was
right.
very well done.
Were you putting that up there?
It's definitely in the top 10.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We've got a top 10er.
We do.
I do, with all the, hollering at Dr. Manhattan. I almost called him Dr. Evil.
I can dislike characters and still like the movie.
You
the
certainly
story
can.
is still
I'm
good.
pretty sure that's how the Prestige and all of them went. The
Yeah,
ones you like the most
Tombstone,
are the ones you
yeah.
holler at people. Yeah, for sure. Oh my God.
Because they made me feel something. I connected with a character or connected against a character
The
because
way
they're
you-
being slime bags.
Yell at Wyatt Earp every single time. It's just crazy. All right. Did you like the title of the movie in the movie?
No.
Not good enough for you. Not clever enough.
Nope.
All right. Cringe level for this movie, 1 through 10.
Well, there was a lot of blue appendages in this movie, and the lovemaking scene between Dan and Silk Spectre was way too long. So cringy, I gotta give that like a 4.5.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Just because of that.
It's not a movie that I want to be sitting next to my parents watching. Like, there's enough of the blue appendage and the other things where you're just kind of like,
Lots of blue dong.
well, you know what? No, small rant here. Also, like, when the comedian attempts to rape Silk Spectre,
Yeah.
and like, just the close up on the belt as he's undoing it, yeah, that cringe level is up. I'm gonna have to put that at like a 4.62. 4.62.
Top 10 movie for Naomi. All right.
But it doesn't mean it's not cringy. There were some cringy moments.
We talked about at the top a little bit about what you knew about it. So basically, Rorschach and the
Pin.
smiley face pin.
Yes.
And you didn't even know about the blue guy.
No, I didn't even know about the blue guy or any of his body parts.
I tried to video your reaction of the dong reveal, but I just could not remember the first time it happens.
Yeah, because the first time you see him, you don't see
That's right.
that.
It takes a while. The best part is trying to watch people when the Vietnam scene comes on and they're playing, the conquering music, and he's gigantic and he's coming up over the hill, and it's like, oh my God, is he gonna have pants on? I remember watching that in IMAX, and I'm like, please have pants on. Please
Yeah.
have pants on.
At least it wasn't 3D. You're fine.
Yeah, well, couldn't handle it either way.
Yeah.
What surprised you?
A blue appendage that kept appearing on the screen
blue
was
dog.
a little surprising.
Probably everything from the comedian,
Sure.
all of his behavior.
Yes. I wasn't expecting that from him, even with how rough and gruff he looked.
I skipped. What were your thoughts going in? Were you thinking this was a, comic book movie?
I didn't think it was going to be that dark.
Okay.
I did think it was gonna be like Avengers or one of those, but not
Did you think this
as
is gonna be-
family friendly.
You think this is going to be more of a team up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was gonna team up and save the day.
Yeah. Didn't see this coming.
Yeah, I didn't think it was one got murdered and we're gonna figure out who murdered him while also stopping nuclear holocaust.
Would you have liked it more or less if you saw it when you were younger? Like 15?
I think I would like it less because it was a long movie and the way the story is put together, I think I would have just got a little impatient and wanted to get to the details right away.
So it's better that you stayed under a rock for this one.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. What was your favorite part?
A lot of good parts, but one thing I do want to mention is whoever did the music for this movie was a genius. It's so well done.
It is.
And
the songs and
yeah,
stuff.
the songs that were picked, where they played, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm drawing a blank on, just all the different scenes where I was like, holy crap, that music fits so well with
The
this.
times they are changing in the beginning with the opening credits and you're watching time pass and all of that stuff. That's a great one.
But yeah, when they get to Antarctica,
Oh, all along the Watchtower.
Yes,
Hell
but
yes.
there's a line about
Two riders were approaching.
Yes.
Oh, we all did
yes.
this. Yes. Good for you.
It was
nice,
phenomenal.
isn't it?
But like every moment with the music in the movie was like that. There was never a time where the music did not fit the movie.
It was really, really killer with the tunes.
Yes.
Like the music, the tunes choices, and then the actual places and times, the timing, the way things
It
line up.
carried the story so well.
I remember leaving the theater with friends and going, man, that all along the Watchtower scene, holy crap. Like that was, when you ran into somebody's like, have you seen Watchmen yet? It's like, yeah, and you could talk about it. It's like, yeah, it's cool. And then this is like, how about? That was always one of the things that got brought up. So,
yeah. But the
nice.
music throughout the entire thing, just again, carried
Absolutely.
it. It gave you, it complemented the feel that they were going for right then and there. It was so well done.
The 99 Red Balloons song scene where they're at the diner and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's an excellent match to scene and tune and all that. Good pull. I like good favorite parts.
Yeah.
Least favorite part.
The cringy parts are definitely up there, and Rorschach dying because he shouldn't have died.
Ah,
Yeah.
right on. What would you recommend this to somebody who hasn't seen it?
Yes.
Watch it again?
Yes.
Stop and watch if it's on TV.
Yes.
Are you happy you watched it?
Yes.
Does it hold up?
Yes.
All right. Excellent answers. Excellent movie. Excellent review. I'm glad you liked Watchmen because it's, you've seen all the superhero stuff. This is, like I said at the top, a different direction for superheroes. So I was interested to see if you would get into the darkness and the seriousness of it.
I think I kind of liked the darkness more, compared to. I feel like I've just been overwhelmed with the fluff lately.
You've
so
had a lot of
having that
happies and-
darkness, it was kind of like, yeah.
All right. Well, there are a couple of more in the same vein that we can get to. So we'll have to get to some things like that. Add those to the list as well. Wonderful. Excellent review of Watchmen.
That's right. All right, it's time for Thought of the Day.
Thought of the day, thought of the day. It's your thought of the day, thought of the day along the Watchtower.
No. Nice try, though. So we've been talking a lot about pets and dogs, and our topics kind of follow that. The fact that some pets can dream means that there exists a version of us in their minds that is made up from what they perceive of us, which is different from what we recognize as us, but it's not less legitimate.
Wow.
Think about that. Just for a second.
That's heavy.
Yeah, but it's a good one.
Not creepy heavy or,
It's fun heavy.
infuriating heavy like you can be.
Sometimes.
That's
Luke,
a good one.
you gonna leave us with a laugh?
I'm going to do my best. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. I gave all my used batteries away today. Free of charge.
Of course.
I like that one. I heard there's a new shop called Moderation. They have everything in there.
Okay. All right.
That one's for all the dads for real. That's an actual dad joke, 100%. All right, one more. An invisible man married an invisible woman. Their kids were nothing to look at either.
So dumb.
Should I do one more then?
No. I had enough after the first one.
All right, that's going to do it for 114. Thanks for hanging out with us for another Under a Rock review. It was, great movie, great review. Thank you again for sitting through a movie, Naomi. And thanks, everybody, for listening to another one of Naomi's Under a Rock reviews. We got more coming. Next episode, same Luke and Naomi time, same Luke and Naomi channel. Don't forget to give us a goog.
I was just... Goog and slime bags. That's my new favorite thing.
Yeah, don't forget to give us a goog. Find out where you can drop your I say it wrong on purpose words or phrases, but you can just go ahead and goog Luke and Naomi on here. That don't sound right, does it?
It doesn't.
It just does not. Give us a goog. We come up.
That's right.
Until episode 115. Moving right along, huh? Mm-hmm. Until episode 115. Have some fun. Be excellent to each other.
Love you. Bye.